Okay, so we're gonna go out, we're gonna take a walk. Yesterday we had the babies. The big one was the people pushing babies in strollers. Now today is 10:30. So, if they're pushing babies at 10:30, then you really know that they're desperate. So we probably won't see the baby pushers. I can't remember. I think we had some gray and blacks and some people waiting with lights on and things. I don't really remember, but we're gonna see how many groups come out tonight. I think we also had the Asian girl trying to get me to go after her and things like that. So. Oh, that's right. We had people waiting in front of the gates. The two trucks here. The black guy asking me if I'm Jewish, and then saying he's Jewish, and giving me the bullshit. And so people waiting on both sides of the fences for me to go in, things like that. So the one thing we'll take a look at is if nobody's waiting when cars with lights on, they'll probably be out later with lights on. It's 10:30. There shouldn't be much traffic. Okay, so let's just quickly kind of document the street. Notice the gold Prius and groups of Priuses that have been pulling out. Also the Elantra. Usually there's two Elantras, a black and a white one. Yellow pickup here, which people keep parking pickups across from in twos. They're different cars, two cars together there. No other cars in the lot, probably. One guy waiting with lights on with music here. Okay, well, looks like we have a U-turner here, kind of notified. They see me coming out in IP camera, so guy notified to kind of come by, do a U-turn, most likely. We might see tons of. We had a guy in a OJ Bronco do it last week or a week before. With their OJ bullshit. That might be the same guy that just parked right up here at the corner. Not sure. We'll see in a second. I think it was a black Camry or Corolla or something like that. So here is the white Elantra, which there should be a black one around here working with him or her. I thought we had two CRVs the other day. CRV here. Yep. And CRV there, so two CRVs. This guy might have parked and is waiting with lights on now. We have this Highlander. Well, I'm not gonna go that far and say this Highlander and this gray truck here, but maybe. But this black Mercedes, keep an eye out for that guy. Okay, so there's a second blue Elantra here. And then notice how they put the two reds together there, right? Strategically parked in twos, right? Impossible. So right there alone, there's what? 4 pairs of twos or something? right? Impossible to happen by itself. This is every day for 20 years, and now it's worldwide after I figured out what they were doing to try to kill me. Okay, this is the Versa we saw waiting for me and then pulling in front of me where I was sitting. Unless it's the second one, we'll see. I believe this is a Civic over here. Yeah, okay, so we have a Civic here, and then as we walk up a second, almost the same color, oh no, different color, white Civic over here. Okay, and then I think this is a Camry over here, and a second Camry over here, right? Okay, so now you've seen about, what, 6 pairs of cars and twos, all directed at me. We'll probably see more here, and then we're definitely going to see more on the other side as I walk back the other way. Now remember, some of these people's death threats with the police and government is, I better accept what they're doing or it's going to get a lot worse for me. Well, I'm not going to accept it. Ever. Okay, so we're just going to note the gray Mercedes here and the VW. Right now we have one Cherokee, but there used to be huge groups of Cherokees. I guess they got a little tired. So now we have a second U-turner, maybe. Just like the lady walking into this place right here that kind of did the U-turn and parked on my street. Now, why is she parking all the way on my street when she can park in their lot over here? So the concept is, when you park your car, you want to park close to your house. So, it's pretty strange to that girl that seems like she timed a U-turn in front of me at the end of the cul-de-sac. This guy did a U-turn as I kind of crossed the street, and I'm coming back the other way. But wait, why doesn't she just park right here? I mean, there's a parking spot right here, like a couple hundred feet away from our house. So why did she park all the way down on my street, right? And she's wearing all black clothing like her car, and you would say that's nitpicking, but it's not, right? So let's take a look at their parking lot. We kind of got cars in twos. It's hard to see. Pairs of twos backwards. All sorts of shit going on. But she can park right there. That's her place. So why didn't she park in her place? right? She parked all the way down where I'm pointing on my street, and they timed it, and they probably left the parking spot open for her. Just like there's 2 gray cars here, and I think there were 2 gray cars. The guy's sitting there with the lights on with the music, texting, okay, here's Kevin, now come down the street, right? Okay, so this is where I was videoing with the 2 Civics and the 2 Camrys, and every day there's similar patterns of 2s. All these streets, everywhere, down the park here, everywhere around here, all directed at me. Okay, you saw the 2 reds there, the 2 CRSs, whatever the fuck they are. The 2 Elantras, or Elances, I'm not sure what the fuck they're called. Right, so you can see the 2 red cars right there together. Let's look at this guy. It looks like someone was gonna pull to the end there and wait with their lights on, probably. Yep, I think. Or they're just doing the U-turn like the other person. Right, that's an older tactic, the U-turn tactic. People are told everywhere, if they see me, to do U-turns in front of me. And the cops, too. Okay, so I wasn't looking at this guy's clothing colors, but I think he's wearing the black and blue tactic. There's the U-turn dude. He could be looking for a spot, possible. Let's kind of look down here. We have the white Mercedes. Remember, it's kind of, if you're driving a Mercedes like this, you're really probably not going to want to park it on the side of the street here. Just kind of a behavioral thing. It's not obviously it's not an all or none, but if you see 9 people pulled out Mercedes like that and all 300s when you come out to take a walk, then you kind of put the pieces together that you know, obviously they're doing it directed to someone, like all of our conversations with Brittany Henderson, who's witnessed this over and over, and she's kind of like, this is insane. You know. Okay, so right now we haven't had people show up waiting with lights on yet. And let's just kind of look at the street here. No people waiting with lights on. Okay, I'm not going all the way to the park today because I'm kind of hungry. I just sort of going a little ways down here. And we're going to note the Ranger. Remember there's a white Jeep Cherokee over by Canoga? So, and the amount of Rangers I have on video, right? We had the people kind of yelling, talking to each other, saying things in threes as they walked by yesterday over there. One Mercedes, I think it's a 300, and there were groups of them. At one point there was about 10 gray Mercedes down this local street right here, all close together. Now Now we have a U-turner here, no plates. Saw me, did a U-turn. So now, and I don't think I've stopped recording, so you understand the time frame. You're understanding the U-turn tactic. Okay, so remember, about 40% of the city, actually all the way down to about Orange County, 40% people were told to take off their license plates and put on like dealer license plate covers. Now most of them are back. Now most people have plates back on their car. But the point I'm making is the dude, one of the U-turners you just saw, didn't have a plate. And this gray Mustang was working on me with a second gray Mustang in pairs of twos before. This Prius, there's another gray Prius. There's been groupings of Priuses. So the point is that you can kind of link them together. It's not 100%, but you can pretty much link it together that, you know, something, as far as the U-turn tactic, you can pretty much group that with the other tactics. I mean, it's pretty obvious with the amount of pairs of cars in twos. So let's sort of video this Acura here, because it's white Acura, because, okay, another no-plater, a second no-plater just drove by. So I think what's going on is these people are waiting for me somewhere like usual, and they're all texted, okay, this is where Kevin is, so follow him here. Okay, so at one point there were tons of Acuras. We have the Mustang guy parking with other gray Mustang convertibles, and he kind of went to the end and turned around. He didn't park, right? So think about that, right? He didn't go into the Met complex here and go home. You also have the other girl in the black, whatever it was, walk like a huge distance back to her place, showing that for some reason she wanted to park away from her place and by me. Now, it's not crazy like yesterday, but usually what happens is I come out, it's a lot quieter like this. And you notice a gray Elantra here. I think I just saw another gray Elantra over there, or a Elantra, I'm not sure what color it was. Guy's parking over there. We'll see if he waits with his lights on. The Scion, where there's a second white Scion, I don't know if there was actually a third. There were three of these guys parked together before. Now note the gray Cherokee. He's not really by any other Cherokees. A couple of Accords, I think. There's a gray, I think, Honda Accord. Black or green Honda Accord. Okay, a BMW. That guy, I think, is in, I'm not sure what he's in over there. The gray, I think that's a gray Charger backwards. They like to use Chargers and hint about charging or whatever. Okay, this is one of my, I have two cars, this is one of my cars. They don't like the signs for the website on the car because it exposes their murder operations with the government and police. And the police definitely don't like it. Also, if you want to really get sort of hyper analytical, gray and gray, one's a CRV, like the two on the other side. You know, that's a little hard to prove, but the gray Charger for sure was sort of strategically parked there for me like that. There should also be cars right here backwards because they're trying to figure out ways to get me to go on to break into their property. like that blue beetle way back there, which has followed me out when I come out and take walks and things like that. On this side, it's not as bad as before, but it's still going on, obviously. You saw the Asian girl come out 2 days in a row trying to, in hopes she can try to like get me to go after her or something, to set me up with the police and these groups of people. And of course I stay away from her because you see trash like that trying to set you up and exterminate you, and then cry wolf that you're a violent paranoid schizo and stay away from him and things like that. Well, I believe it's the same girl that told me I'm not allowed to talk to people, that she came out of this gate this was a couple years ago, coming out of this gate telling me I'm not allowed to talk to people and things like that. Another gray Mercedes. What is it? It's probably a 300. Uh, 320. Now remember I told you there used to be insane amounts of gray Mercedes up the street for about 100 yards, like 10 at a time. Okay, we have the Lincolns. I think I was talking about the Lincolns yesterday on video, starting to park here in groups. What is it? Oh, this is a Highlander. No, this is a Highlander. Someone usually parks the second Highlander on that. There is a second Highlander on that side of the street, I think. The blue Fiat's by himself, but he's been parking by the yellow pickup on the other side. Today he's on this side. So if you kind of want to look at the more subliminal tactics, you got the yellow guy on this side and then the yellow truck on that side. You got I think a CRV on both sides, right? And that's an older tactic, and it's something you wouldn't look for unless you're going out to take walks and it's directed at you, right? The entire definition of gang stalking to try to make you look crazy, right? Okay, so here is the second Elantra or whatever, and it's black. So 2 Elantras on this side and 2 on that side, right? So 2 Elantras on both sides. Now remember when I came out, no one was walking at all. And the streets, we have a Jeep. The streets all of a sudden got a little busier. There's a guy waiting over there with lights on, all the way over there. We just walked down there. No one was sitting with lights on. It looks like he turned off his lights or left. And we saw a black Jeep Ranger drive by, and there's this white Jeep Ranger over there, parked over there, right? Now that one's hard to put together, but remember, they time things. So for example, they all might be waiting at Gateway Plaza in hopes I go to get food at the Ralph's, or go to Starbucks, which I used to go to, which they started in on me 20 years ago, or maybe 18 years. I mean, they've been doing it for 42 years, but I noticed it 18 years ago, and they all wait at the Gateway Plaza, and if I go there, they work on me, but if I don't, someone texts to them, this is where Kevin is, everyone follow him here. So that's what you're kind of seeing, these strategic patterns, like, hey, leave a spot down there open, and when Kevin walks out, I'm going to notify you and go do these things, except these notifications. Okay, so I always sit here, and this is where things normally ramp up. So all these notifications go out worldwide to the entire planet. So as you've seen with Brittany Henderson, we've gone from Sherman Oaks to Camarillo. It's happened at every location from Sherman Oaks to Camarillo that we've gone to. Not one time did it never happen. Every single person that we have spoken to, or I've spoken to, has known me, working on me with tactics and large groups showing up before and after, and police presence at each location showing that these are police and government kill operations. Now, if I committed a crime, they would just arrest me for the crime, right? So there is no crime. It's at 5 years old, someone decided they were going to hunt me and kill me. Okay, so we have our first dog walker. Now notice there's been 0 dog walkers. So 0 dog walkers. Now we're just going to keep videoing. And if we see groups of dog walkers come out, it's probably 11 p.m. The streets have just all of a sudden got extremely crowded. And you saw on camera, barely anyone was on the streets when I first came out of my house. It's 11 p.m. Most people are kind of chilling at home, about to go to sleep. And we're now seeing a huge ramp up of traffic. And that's really hard to pinpoint and know if that's just because some kind of fluctuation in traffic or it's groups of people notified to follow me. Now, a lot of times the fire truck will come out and they'll turn on their siren right about now after I finish the first lap and sit here on the steps or get to that corner there. And this happened probably every day for a month or two, where it was no coincidence with the fire department's right down the street here. Now, the fire department's mad because I was cruising around with a camera videoing things or taking pictures of either journalistic events and things like that, and they don't want me having a camera. Now, that's strange because who would care? Nobody normally would, showing that something very strange is going on, and at the same time death threats from the police. We're watching you, Perlman, showing that the police, and they're on video saying that, so showing that the police want to kill me since 5 years old. Okay, that's strange. Now remember, it's not just Topanga Division out here, it's every division worldwide. We have someone reversing, doing a weird thing in a car down there. I can't see what they're doing. They might park and wait with their lights on. I can't tell you. He's now coming. Oh no, now he's coming back because he wants to hang a left turn. So I'm just going to pop the camera up here, especially now we see a ramp up in traffic, and see if people come out, usually walking dogs, clothing colors, walking by, talking to each other while trying to strategically provoke me by saying like yes, 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 or wow really loud as they walk by. That guy's an Uber driver in a black and gray Prius, but I think a couple weeks ago or a month ago there were huge groups of gray and black. Oh no, at the park they had huge groups down the street here. They had huge groups of Priuses in gray and black like that all together. Lined up. Okay, so I'm just gonna pop the camera up here and just let it video, and if people come out like they do every single day of my life to try to create mental illness and make me look crazy, which is going on now since 5 years old with changing varying types of tactics with the psychology community on government mental illness and kill operations or eradication operations. And we'll just video, and when people start coming out, because what they do is they get angrier and angrier the longer I kind of sit and relax and try to be healthy and go out, get exercise and things like that, with police officers who call themselves Officer Toro saying if you ever take a picture of a person, I'll exercise the law in my own way, because they got mad at me for getting into photography and studio photography. Oh, here you go. Here it is. Okay, so like I said, we have the fire department. I didn't hear, he's not coming this way, he's going another way, but you still get the idea. If I'm telling you the things that happen and they happen minutes later, then obviously it's not mental illness, it's a pattern of behaviors directed at someone since 5 years old. And the more I tell people about it, the more they threaten my life. A lot of it on video. If you better accept it, it's going to get a lot worse for you. It is what it is. Sometimes you don't talk. Sometimes there's even direct death threats. I think some of them on video. Physical attacks, things like that. All directed at me, that we're going to hunt you down and kill you, and you better accept being hunted and killed. You don't say anything. You don't get proof of it, you just die. Okay, so let's put the camera up here. And the police and judicial system are all involved for some reason, saying these people are allowed to kill me. Something like 15 to 20 audio recordings in police departments all across Southern California, all the way down to San Diego, telling me that people are allowed to get together and kill me if they don't physically touch me, in different types of conversations, or refusing to take the evidence, whether the evidence is from here or the evidence is down in San Diego. And each area I went to, I videoed these mass attacks, and then I'm just saying, we're not going to help you and we're going to kill you. And even some audio recordings of police officers telling me that we're not obligated to help you. Okay, so if I have guys physically attacking me with video proof of it and try to give it to the police officer and he tells me, this was Officer Lee, I'm not obligated to help you, then you know something's going on, right? And then they try to cover it up. Well, you're passing out cards to people, telling them that these mass groups are hunting you to have you killed. Okay, so why wouldn't the cops, if I've handed them hard drives of evidence, want to stop people from killing me, right? These are serious questions, and they don't really make much sense because they're not really about anything. It's just been going on since 5 years old, started by my own family, especially my father, who locks dogs in cages for half their lives when they could be running around yards, or he would put shock collars on our dog Rhoda, Rhodesian Ridgeback, and if I tell someone that, they'll say, oh, you put shock collars on dogs? Things like this, right? Or when they had the security guard, John Paul Naranjo, attack me at the Starbucks here on Topanga and Ventura because they wanted to silence me, and he was mad that I got paperwork of their defamation and slander, writing up lies that they tried to force me into signing, which, by the way, coffee shops don't tell you that you have to sign false confessions or you can't go there and things like that. Okay, so just note the second white Charger here. Note the traffic as well. The traffic is now continual, but when I walked out for the first 15-20 minutes, the streets were completely empty. As I walked down this way, the streets were completely empty. All of a sudden, there's just huge traffic at 11 p.m. So think about that. And that's not probably the strangest thing, but it is a little weird because it's not like rush hour, 6 p.m. where people are coming home from office or anything. It's 11 p.m. Most people are kind of chilling at home, right? So kind of think about that. We're just going to keep videoing and see how many cars kind of... Okay, we have Allied Security, and they've been following me all across California, telling me that I'm not allowed to take pictures, and I'm not allowed to take pictures on private property also, and that's a crime. And also, I'm fabricating whatever lie I can that isn't a crime, and using it as justification to kill, if that makes sense. You were walking down the street and you farted, so farting on the street is a crime, so we're going to hunt you down and kill you. And so Allied Security is deeply involved in trying to cover up, trying to have me killed, and aiding, abetting, and murder. Accessories to murder. Like all these people. And so that's why they don't want me talking, because this is one of the largest crimes in history of humanity, going across 42 years to have me killed, since 5 years old. And they don't want any of that truth coming out. They want to make it look like I'm a violent paranoid schizo, and we've had police officers make up lies that I'm a violent paranoid schizo, recorded on audio, the same ones that threaten my life. Let's do them at Topanga. We have all sorts of video of the police following me around and doing things to try to provoke me and set me up. And so that's what you're actually seeing. And then you see the Dincy neighborhood watch groups. Well, this is what you're seeing, except they're not just local Topanga Division watch groups. They're worldwide watch, hunt down, and kill someone groups with psychological warfare since 5 years old. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this up here and kind of smoke a cigar, maybe surf on my phone, or do things that people normally do And you're going to see them get angrier and angrier the longer I'm out here. And we're going to see, I'm just going to sort of make a point, notice that nobody is walking down the street, and we're going to see probably people start walking down the streets in clothing patterns, trying to provoke me and set me up, and then we're going to have lawyers and people like that say I'm lashing out in anger and rage by simply walking out of my house, taking a walk, and sitting on some steps, which has been done, these types of things, like I just said, have been done to me my entire life since 5 years old, on changing types of tactics with mass groups, which the cops are trying to cover up. Okay, so just one last thing before I plop this up on the whatever. Yesterday, 9 people came out with strollers trying to provoke me, all at the same time. And like I said before, last month, maybe 3 weeks ago, when I took a walk, 9 black Mercedes came out, all parked around the streets here, when there was like 1, right? Okay, so, and you saw the other 2s and things like that on the other side. Now the things like sending the women after me, like Jen has Julia Sophia and about 1,000 other women after me, since a young age. If I say anything like Jen Hess was doing this, they'll say, oh, you did this to Jen Hess, right? And they'll just go from person to person. Corey Bixby at 16 asking me to drive her home, and then hunting me down with my entire high school for being nice enough to drive her home. Would probably say that I did something to her to cover up what she's doing. We've seen 2 people just start walking down the street. Now that might just be 2 people walking, or we might see huge groups now start walking down the street with provoking tactics. Or they might not even provoke. They might just want to ramp up the patterns to try to get me to go ballistic on someone. That Dincy is trying to cover up because he's involved in something much deeper behind it. Okay, so we've seen the traffic go from almost nothing to non-stop cars. And a cat cruising across the street. that guy's in an Acura. That doesn't really mean much, but my guess is most of these people are actually waiting at the Topanga Gateway Plaza Shopping Center in case I go to Ralph's to get food and they don't want me buying food. So if you want to do the math on that one, why doesn't someone want someone eating food?
Sorry.
This is dog walker number 1. We've had these other people walking the other way. Might be something, might not. If you see 10 more dog walkers, you'll know that the streets went so completely quiet. Okay, we have more people coming at the corner here. Okay, so now the walking groups are amping up.
خدا باید نجات فرزند صالح جواب
Okay, so if you want to sort of hyper-analyze, we have two guys walking down this way together on that side of the street, and we have two guys walking together on this side of the street. And I'm also going to try to remember their clothing colors. One was an orange shirt, and one was an Adidas stripes. One of the older tactics was groups of people following me around with Adidas and Adidas stripes. That's an older tactic. There's not a huge amount of people coming out like that right now, but I'm just sort of linking that to some of the previous tactics so that I mention it beforehand on camera in case we see large groups come out. You'll know what I'm talking about. But you have just seen a huge car fluctuation from almost no cars to huge groups of cars. Remember, this happens every place I go in the world, not just here. Okay, so what's the time? It's 11:17. They're gonna say weird things like, they're doing this, it's my fault because I'm lonely, or weird shit like that. It's not gonna make any sense. We're hunting you down because you're lonely. We're hunting you down because you're sad. We're hunting you down because I think that you could be a danger to people. We're hunting you down because I think you could be a serial killer. We're hunting you down because I think you could have killed someone. We're hunting you down because I think you're schizo, and you think you're O.J. Simpson, and we think you've killed someone. We're hunting you down because you created a piece of artwork with Mike Tyson and a game character Katana in 96 or 97 for a college digital imaging art class, and you think you're Mike Tyson, and you're a woman beater. And these weird, freaky accusations are literally in the thousands and change on an hourly basis of why it's okay to hunt me down and kill me. But none of these reasons are acceptable. People generally don't hunt people down or pay off women, thousands of women like Jen Hess, to hunt people down and kill them with the police and government. Linking this right up to the top, going up to Congress, Senate, the president. I've even been with policeabuse.com all across the U.S. with Greg Miller, and private investigator Greg Miller, proving that every place I went in the U.S. and Mexico, almost every person knew me in an angry rage. And we also proved that walking in front of the White House with the other tourists for 10 minutes led to White House security following me from place to place as I left the White House, walked up the street to the stores in the local area, and White House security in an obvious manner being counter-surveillance by policeabuse.com, which they made sure I couldn't get Greg Miller on the stand to prepare for trial for some of their falsified police reports. All proven. Now we still have a mass influx of cars. Zero were driving down the street as I walked out for the first 20 minutes. Saw me and hung a U-turn in front of me. Had two motorcycles in the pairs of twos. Two motorcycles strategically timed to drive by at the same time. Okay, we have a second dog walker. Now this lady, I have all sorts of video of her running around, trying to turn around the people that attacked me, saying I attacked them. She's hit my car with her hand in anger and rage on video. She always comes out when I sit out here, and she walks right by me here, and then she does it like that. She turns around and goes back. She lives way up there, but she walks to where I'm sitting and turns around. Today she's walking a little further past where she normally turns around. Now the reason is for them to try to get me to lose control, start screaming at her so that she can call the cops. And all these things are designed the same way since 5 years old. Trying to flip me out, make me look crazy, make me look like a violent paranoid schizo that goes after people. They're all designed with the same exact motive since 5 years old, to get those reactions with the police, say this guy's crazy and look what he did, and my father, and my family. Now security companies, you saw Allied Security. Security companies are all contacted worldwide to follow me around trying to play this game like you're crazy and we're watching you. But that's not the security company's job. But their contact, oh, so here she comes the other way. She's doing her little U-turn, her little turnaround, right? So we've had 4 U-turners and her walking by and then turning around the other way, right? So here she comes back the other way. So she's dog walker number 2, but And before she's telling me something like, I'm trying to tell you something, but they won't tell me what they need to tell me verbally. They have 100,000 people per hour, 100,000 to a million people per day on the internet, off the internet, following me around, trying to create mental illness, and then say that, oh, I'm just trying to tell you something. Well, they're not trying to tell me anything, because the act of sending people hidden messages all day and night is the act of trying to make someone look crazy. And the types of tactics they're using is we want to create what's known as ideas of references, a type of schizophrenia. So they're trying to make me look like a schizophrenic. That's what they're trying to do. Actually, they're trying to make me look like a violent paranoid schizo. Like, I have on audio one of the Topanga Division police officers saying that I'm a violent paranoid schizo to try to cover up their crimes and threatening to have me killed, saying let's do them at Topanga to the other officer, when I called them up to look at what people were putting on my welcome mat, like lizard tails or rat's tails and things like that, right? Now remember, this is all day and night, 24/7, and it is now 11:30 p.m. Officers driving down the street with these mass groups, trying to sort of thug and intimidate me. Some days they even time it. Maybe someone drops off a girl right here and the cop car drives by, trying to figure out ways to provoke me in front of the police officers, right? So it's all timed, right? It's all timed, set up operations that are sort of timed and strategic. Technically, we've had 2 dog walkers, even though that one guy was nice and polite. He said sorry, but if you're sorry about something, you stop doing it, and you're direct and say this is unacceptable, and I'm going to say that this is unacceptable, and this is what's going on. You don't leave it at like, oh, sorry, but by the way, we're not going to stop. Even though this is citywide, it's worldwide, but right now citywide, a lot of what the Warner Center meant, where we just walked down, this is my place, the Woodland Oaks, but when I walk down, it turns that huge complex surrounding my area is the Warner Center Met complex, and what they do is there's entrances, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 entrances and exits to the Met complex. So what they do is they might pull their car out from this side, loop around, and then park back in the other side. That's one of the things they do. Okay, another thing is, right now on social networks, they're probably posting all sorts of posts of jokes I've said and mimics and things like this, or people that are associated with people walking. This is where Kevin is. This is what he's doing. They might make jokes about it. Okay, so this yellow Jeep Ranger has been involved in all sorts of weird, freaky things with other yellow Jeep Rangers. And I'm just kind of pointing that out because we saw a couple of the Rangers, the 2 white Rangers, this Ranger, which isn't very obvious, it's very subtle and subliminal. But I'm just kind of pointing it out in case we see Cherokees and Rangers start ramping up. driving no lights on. I'm just going to say that in case we see more people driving with the lights off. Okay, so I think the point I was making is when I see things on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter of mass groups posting these comments based on me leaving my house, you need to understand that these people on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram are all worldwide. People in England, people in Australia, all instantly know when I walk out of my house. That's kind of the point I think I was getting at. I'm just checking my battery and SD card because I go through a lot of batteries and a lot of memory space. Okay, so yesterday groups of people were coming out, black pants and purple. This guy just came out. He honked his alarm horn twice, one with tactics. The guy and girl were both wearing black pants. The guy was wearing gray, and then the girl had like a gray sweater, so that's the black and gray tag. She was kind of doing a combination, black and grays and purples, with the other guy with her in the black and gray tag. So she was doing both, and the guy honked his alarm horn twice. And this guy came out of my complex, the Woodland Oak complex, where I don't, well actually, you'll notice that they left in a white car, and you'll notice that the car in front is also white, showing that, like you saw the two red cars together, they're sort of parking white cars and pairs of twos together, which are a lot harder to really pick up on, but you can sort of package that together with everything else they're doing, and you understand that it's strategic, because if almost every person that's either walked by or almost every car that I'm videoing is involved in something around here and everywhere else, the two whites, the two reds down there, and all the groupings of cars and twos, the same like models or builds or whatever, or similar cars, that it's obviously, I mean, come on, I mean, common sense is going to tell you they intentionally parked 2 white cars by where I sit, right? But what's most important is the amount of resources and internet-based murder tools built around me since 1994, when my brother wanted me to see the internet so bad while playing both sides of the fence. I want to get you on the internet so we have a larger, more technology to hunt my younger brother down and kill him, was his reasoning. We also saw the 2 no-platers at the same time, driving, and one of them did a U-turn in front of me, right? Okay, so let's now do another walk around. There's more people walking this way. Remember, it's 11:40 p.m. Okay. So we're gonna do another walk down this way, and then they're gonna say, well, Kevin took more than 1 lap around the local area, so he's ruining our lives, right? He's lashing out in anger or rage. Well, I thought I had the privacy to do 1 lap, 2 laps, 100 laps, without people hunting me down and trying to kill me. We're also going to kind of look and see how many people are waiting on the streets here with lights on or waiting in cars. Because all these people you're seeing show up with this huge amount of traffic at almost 12 a.m. Some of the other things they do, right? Okay, so here's our Elantra, or Elance, or whatever the hell it is. This guy I just saw pull out of the Metro complex, black Mercedes, and let's just kind of see what they're doing. And now they're gonna say, well, Kevin's doing this to us because he's at 11:40 a.m. taking another lap around the street here, and showing that they don't want me leaving my house, going places, doing things, talking to people, having any type of life. We want to lock you in a cage like your father locks dogs in cages. But these people aren't my father. These people are obviously working with my father since 5 years old, and my family. We have another person down there. It looks like he just parked a car and is probably walking back into the Metro, the Warner Center Metro complex here. So this entire complex here, so that's my complex, Woodland Oaks. This is Owens Mouth. This entire complex it is huge. It goes way the hell back, all the way down to Canoga, and all these people come out every night. And the guy walking back, he probably pulled out a car that's like a double to another car. I don't know what car he's coming from. I'm just gonna note the white Accord here. And the things they're doing, right? Now, this white Accord isn't parked directly next to, like, one behind the other like they do a lot of times. I think that's the second Elantra or Elance, and then there's, I think, maybe a third. I think this is an Accord. Okay, so a Honda Civic here and a Honda Accord here, trying to get Hondas together, right? Now, there's a shitload of Hondas, I'm not going to deny that, but they're doing it for a whole other reason. For example, right back here is another Accord, the one I pointed out earlier. And so I'm just going to document. Okay, so now we have 2 red cars together here on this side as well. I don't think there were 2 red cars here earlier. I'm not 100% sure. But you can see how there's 2 red cars here. And on the other side, when I was going out to take a walk, there were 2 red cars together on the other side. Right? Okay, so now we have someone waiting on the end here in the VW, and they're most likely waiting for me in part of these huge groups coming out after I walked out. Now remember, it's about 11:45 a.m. It should be pretty quiet. We shouldn't see that huge amount. This guy always comes out kind of when I'm out. He doesn't do anything aggressive, but he always comes out. Once again, here is our VW Beetle. We're still at the Met Complex, so look how far back it goes, all the way to the freeway here. Now, a lot of times security comes out. Well, Kevin came out and took a walk. Or Kevin took one lap, and now he's taking another. So he can't do that because he's by the Met Complex, even though I'm on public roads. Now we have a no plater kind of in the corner there. Hello? So what we're seeing is groups of people. They sent one girl after me named Julia Sophia Reynoso. Okay, there's a second person waiting right here in a car. Okay, right? Okay, so it is Friday. So Friday's kind of a party night for the youngsters. But still, what we're seeing has nothing to do with people just going out and going to bars and having fun. It's like when they sent this one girl, Julia Sophia Reynoso, who was actually Rody Morales working with the police, befriending me on IRC to try to set me up. What we're seeing, and she said, "What, you think the world revolves around you?" Before I really knew what was going on. You get the idea. And then trying to get me to go places to set me up and things like that, which she failed. You can see that all these people, all this is actually revolving around me. And why is it happening? Well, it's happening because it's about creating mental illness with the government and worldwide support to remove me from society. Okay, so even though it is Friday night at 11:45 a.m., we really shouldn't be seeing this influx of cars. Maybe 2 a.m. when the bars are closing. But you can see how these are kind of repetitive acts every single night, right? We saw the fire truck. We didn't really see him because he turned down the other way, probably down Canoga, but he quickly blared his sirens and sort of did it in a less aggressive way than before. Just like I told you they do over and over. What are the chances that I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in the camera, right? Here's a Kia, and there's usually a second Kia as well, a red one. Yesterday we saw someone wait for me by the gate here, and then people pulling up on the other side waiting for me by the gate here. One lady was sitting in the car pretending she's asleep while texting, and then texting people to show up as I got to the other side. Okay, so this looks like it might be another Jeep Ranger by the front lights. No, it's not. It's a big red loud pickup. It's still less aggressive than it usually is, but it's still going on. When you saw at about, what was that, 10:50, the streets were completely silent. The streets were dead. So this is this influx, these mass groups getting together. Well, Kevin just left his house, so everyone do these things. So here's the second Elantra, Elance, whatever the hell it is. There was a third one that he finally broke from his rage and started following me and honking me, and then I never saw him again. This is actually a Genesis, but it's the same car, right, as the Elantra. The same exact, just different name. Okay, so the lady that walks her dog, she comes out way down over here, and then she kind of walks in front of me and then turns around. right? So with the 4 car U-turners, she kind of comes by, walks in front of me, then turns around with 2 people with dogs. And we have our fire truck. Right? Remember that I just told you when I get to this corner right here, that's usually when the fire trucks. And here's another, I think that's a Mercedes, I think. Jeep Mercedes SUV thingy that looks like a Jeep. Remember that I told you whenever I get to this corner here, the fire department right down the street there by the gym, that Mike Huntley wanted me to work out with him, where they had Rody Morales befriend me, working with the LAPD, saying that I killed someone. They always sort of time it. Now, once again, you just heard some fire truck sirens, but they were very, very brief. They weren't right when I got to this corner, right? Now the lady comes out right here, out of this place, and she always times it so when I kind of come out and sit on a curb out of my place, and she times it so she walks down there and does the U-turn, like turns around and comes back in here, trying to cover up all the things they've done to me, saying that I did it to them, right? Now we have someone that might be waiting with their lights on. I don't think they are. I think they're just dropping someone off. But once again, the fire truck sort of timed the sirens from the fire department over here. Also notice the black or smoky gray, whatever, Cherokee, because they used to have like 10 right around here. That's a Charger, but whatever. Okay, so that's a Charger. So they used to have like 10 of these, all with black Jeep Rangers, all right here down Owen's Mouth and up Owen's Mouth and here, all directed at me. Huge groups of Jeep Cherokees, and for years Jeep Cherokees all surrounding my place, hinting about Kelly Hatch, which they're trying to cover up those crimes of the government having Kelly Hatch follow me from Calabasas High, Southern Oregon State College, hunting me, and then her, like everyone else, saying I'm stalking her, right? Okay, so now we've had 2 people waiting at the end in cars for me, and the guy sitting on the curb, which has always been pretty friendly, I think, the guy sitting on the curb. But they're still timing it around me, if that makes sense. These mass groups. Okay, so we're walking back to where I was sitting by my place. I'm at my place, the Woodland Oaks, 21620. Oh, I'm 21620. This is the other side, 21650, but whatever. And a place my father's real estate agent found for me, and they were working on angles to try to make it look like I'm crazy and doing things and this and that. Okay, so the second white car has left. Now let's sit back down here. Let's sit back down here because I'm committing crimes according to the police and government by taking walks and trying to be healthy, keep my immune system up, buying food, talking to people, asking women out on dates. They're all crimes, apparently, according to them, ruining all their lives. I'm committing, tonight I guess I'm committing the sad and lonely crime, I don't know. And let's just see if they get more aggressive after I take my second walk, which nobody could normally care less about, showing that they have motive to hunt down, torture, kill, with every resource known to man. Kevin Perlman, since 5 years old, me, with the psychology community and these psychological warfare tactics. Okay, so let's see what it's 11:52 a.m. or p.m. And after this guy hangs a left turn, I'll change batteries because this battery is getting low. I've pretty much kept the camera videoing the entire time so you can understand the timing of these events. It's not me piecing and editing things together. I think that was a no-plater, just drove by. They take off their plates, it's just to send messages. That looks like it's a really old car, and I highly doubt he bought it at a used car dealer. Okay, so this guy's going to hang his left turn, then we'll put in a new battery. We have not seen a huge amount of walkers. Oh, and by the way, the old guy, there's a guy that kind of did the same exact thing as the Asian girl. Yesterday, as I walked down to the end of the cul-de-sac, the guy was sort of walking but avoiding me and walking the other way. Sort of mimicking what the Asian girl was doing that was telling me I'm not allowed to talk to people and things like that. Okay, so now I'm just gonna... It kind of looks like another no-plater, but I'm not 100% sure. So now what I'm gonna do is the same thing I did before, just pop the camera up. Up here, and just see what happens.
Okay, so just to note for the people trying to play the black and white game, obviously some people probably that I've stated things going on aren't involved, but 90% are. So if 90% are, then the people that aren't involved, that don't think this is wrong, are still equally guilty in letting it go on. And you can't use that as an excuse. Oh, well, I'm not involved, and he thinks I'm part of this. Well, okay, if you're not, it's still going on no matter what. Just drove by, and I think at the same time, like a minute before, a white Audi SUV hung a right turn here. Might be something, might not be something, but probably is something. Rangers, and not a lot of people drive Jeep Rangers, and so if you start seeing groups of Jeep Rangers, especially the way they strategically park them at the shopping centers, especially around here, you'll know that they like to use Jeep Rangers, which is the car that Tom Farley drove before sending Kelly Hatch after me with her white Jeep Cherokee. That most likely they're sort of timing it or looping around or whatever to try to get reactions, but you don't know for sure because you can't look at every car on the road. And you can't prove it when they're just driving by like that. The motorcycles are were a little more obvious, the two motorcycles at the same time. Okay, so just note the time is 12:01 a.m. that's one of the people that park the black Jeeps in groups around here. Also noticed the gray exterior here because last month or about 3 weeks ago they were doing groups of X-Tierras and following me out to Thousand Oaks and Westlake, or people in that area told to use X-Tierras. Okay, that was a white Jeep Cherokee that just on the right turn. Once again, some of the people aren't involved, but you can see how many are involved to create paranoia or make it look like I suffer from paranoia. Okay, so it's 12:08 a.m. Gray Jeep Cherokee. So this is what the street was like when I first walked out. of the fire truck, you heard once again just a kind of a few seconds of a horn. Okay, so notice how the streets just magically, at the same time, all got quieter. Jeep Cherokee coming out of the Metro complex. see a black or a gray, smoky gray Jeep Cherokee just on the left.
A couple of Mercedes drove by. Don't know if that's anything. Still a little more aggressive than when I walked out, but it's not like it was. It's 12:20 a.m. Okay, so this is kind of how it was when I first walked out. A little less traffic. It's still a little more aggressive than it was when I first walked out. I walked out, I think, 10:40 p.m. I'm not exactly sure, and it was completely dead. It was like this, completely dead, no cars at 10:40 p.m. It is now 12:25 a.m. It's more how it should be. So in, what is that, almost 2 hours, a little less than 2 hours time, you saw a huge ramp up in traffic. And like I said before, it's Friday night, so you're going to expect a little more traffic than usual. So now I'm starving, so I'm going to go back in, eat some food. I'm going to check my email, I'm going to check my mailbox, and then I'm going to video the other side of the street, see what cars they've parked on the street in pairs of twos and things like that, as you saw when I walked out. Some of the things that have changed. Today there's a lower rate of foot traffic. 2 dog walkers and 2 pairs of guys walking in twos. As far as the foot traffic, now we're gonna see who kind of waits and parks on who's waiting on the side with the lights on and things like that. I don't see many. So normally you see groups parking there with lights on, and you see groups back this way waiting where that orange car is over there, parking with lights on. All down this street, people waiting with lights on. All down this street, people waiting with lights on. Here comes a guy. He just did it like a U-turn, and he might be waiting with his lights on, or he might be parking. I'm too hungry to kind of wait around and see. But if he is waiting with lights on, hey, I just saw Kevin, so I'm gonna pull the side and wait with my lights on. That's one of the things they do in citywide groups. And right now, like normally there should be like 6 people or something waiting on the side of this street with lights on, and same with the other side. And if I were to walk to the park over there, you would see groups of people pull to the side or waiting for me with lights on, things like that. Okay, so we're gonna go to check my mail, see what's going on the other side, and check my mail, see what's going on the other side, and then go in. So this kind of gives you an idea on a less aggressive day. Now this person actually looks like they might be dropping someone off, but I'm not really going to wait around to see, because we have 15 terabytes of these daily operations, not just here, in every city, state, worldwide. But you saw how things went from quiet streets to groups of people driving around doing things. A lot of it isn't happening. Or wait, normally they also have cars in the garage. This is my place, park backwards. Here as well. I can't. Right now they're all forwards, just so you. Okay, so this lady. I can't focus. I can't. My depth of field. Okay. Without adjusting the depth of field, she's wearing black pants and a gray shirt, and that person did drop her off, but she is wearing the gray and blacks, and she does live here. But anyways, we saw the groupings of cars. It's less aggressive than before, but the patterns are obvious, the way they're parking cars on the streets. The internet attacks are less aggressive tonight. People from states and countries all over the world posting comments based on me taking walks. That's a lot less tonight. And so I'm just going to go here, check my mail, which Terrence Scroggins would say I'm supposedly gluing his mailbox shut and things like that, working with the police and psychology community, trying to frame me, even though it never really happened at all anyways, but showing that the police are paying him off. And then we're going to check the other side of the street, because probably what they did is have people pull out more cars in patterns of 2s. And like they do all day, night, 24/7, worldwide, especially Woodland Hills and wherever I am. And then we're gonna go in. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing we did last night. Remember last night we had people waiting at both gates for me, in cars and black trucks pulling up at the end of the cul-de-sac here waiting for me. And one guy asking me if I'm Jewish because I was wearing a yarmulke like Perlman. Like the name Perlman isn't Jewish. Okay, so sort of playing game, like trying to make it look like I'm schizo and things like that. Okay, no mail. So now let's just kind of quickly walk out this way and document when we first walked out on this side. The car patterns in 2s. Okay, so yesterday we had the groupings waiting on this side and the other side by where I walk in. I pointed out earlier these two gray SUV kind of similar cars. So we have my cat Sylvia. Hi Sylvia. And Sylvia followed me out. She wants attention. Most of the cars look the same. We have the two reds together here, down there. We have these two gray SUVs, a Trooper and a Highlander, but they're trying to get similar cars together. We have this CRV, and we have this CRV. So the two CRV people pulled out. By the way, this entire, all these buildings over here, that's all the Warner Center Met as well. Right, and it goes way back. That goes way back all the way down to the freeway. So they have like pools and tennis courts, so it's huge. So you can understand. Where'd my cat go? The amount of people. Oh, there you are. Hey, girl. Okay, so Sylvia came out. She wants attention. Hey, girl. Say hi. Say hi. To the people that hate us and want us all dead. Okay, so that's my cat Sylvia, which my mother couldn't believe that she comes out and takes walks, or comes up to me and wants me to take her on walks. So this is Sylvia, so I'm supposedly crazy, and I don't really walk with my cat. Well, here she is walking. Right, so we'll take a break from the abuse and kind of have some fun with the cat before my SD card fills up. Okay. So we have the two CRVs. The Elantra or Elance, and there's a second one down there before the two red cars together. So that's two pairs of those, pairs of red cars, pairs CRVs. Where this yellow truck is, they usually have one across from him. So pickup trucks in twos. Where they're trying to make it look like I have a problem with strangers parking on my street, or people that don't live here parking on my street, which I couldn't care less. It's the mental illness tactics. We have this gold. Hey, girl. We have this gold Prius, and before they had a second Prius across from the gold Prius. Oh. Where did my cat go? Oh, I don't know where my cat went, so she's gonna have to sort of catch up to me. You'll notice the streets are a lot quieter now, and also they normally have people waiting on the street here with lights on, trying to intimidate me or get reactions. And more importantly than that, they usually have security come out, not wanting me to leave my place, trying to intimidate me. Well, you're walking by the metro security here. You're walking out of your house in public, and you're not allowed to walk by our complex here, right? Well, who would tell you that? No one would tell you that. Oh, and another thing is, on some of my other video, we have a black BMW who's left his car here. And then the other day, I was going to meet Brittany, my therapist, who has witnessed everything on all these videos, which people probably don't want to exist. And a second one of these identical black BMWs, was waiting behind my other car here in hopes that when I walked out to go to my car, that he could sort of sit behind me and watch me and try to intimidate me, right? Of course, I was in my other car, so I was behind him getting video of him trying to thug and intimidate me with the black twos, BMWs, and one sort of watching me with his lights on, like I'm watching you go to your car, right? Now this is all day and night, 24/7. Half the time security from the metro complex here comes out, like, how dare you leave your house and take a walk or go anywhere. Or we're going to follow you around and thug you and try to intimidate you. And then if you go to like San Diego, different security companies are working with this security company, the police, governments, you name it, trying to thug and intimidate me, sort of, how do you explain it? Continuing what they're doing here doing in San Diego or different cities or states or wherever. So for example, maybe 5 Jeep Rangers park right here that are red, and then I go to San Diego, and then 5 Jeep Rangers in San Diego pull up, and then the security companies with the police follow me around going, you're not allowed to take pictures of those cars. Well, wait, why wouldn't I be allowed to take the pictures of those cars? Whether they're following me or not is irrelevant. I'm out in public and I'm allowed to take pictures of the cars. Then they sort of switch up. Well, because you're on private property, if let's say I'm in like a shopping center parking lot, you can't take pictures of those cars because you're on private property. Just trying to justify hunting me down and killing me, right? No matter what it takes. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go in, eat some food, and pop this video on the internet for the world to see, and they're gonna get angry saying, look what you did to us. Trying to turn it around with people like Judge Eric Harmon saying that I'm somehow ruining it for all these people by simply walking out of my house and taking a walk, and ruining all their lives. But the important question is, how do they know that I've left my house? Instantly, when I walk outside my door, and they have security cameras up there, IP cameras pointed at my house, while all these people watch the video feeds, and worldwide, so they know what clothing colors I wear, what time I leave, when I leave, and they mimic. For example, if I'm wearing a red shirt, 10 people right here might come out with red shirts, right? You get the idea. And then they say they're not doing anything wrong, and I'm a violent paranoid schizo, and I'm imagining it. Now someone has left a cat box here, and on the cat box, there's a few things I might as well note. They keep putting things in here, leaving the gates open, this gate, and the other gate. They have people pretending they're from the Met Complex working with the judicial system, hanging out on my porch when they're not invited, while belittling me with people at the Van Nuys courthouse and lawyers, trying to set me up. And so, what did it say? There's something on this. Here it is. Sloth or something. I think they're trying to hint about sloth or something, but it says soft, right? And someone sort of put that out there, directed at me, along with 100 other things, and rats and lizard tails on my welcome mat, and all sorts of creepy things, and then trying to say you're imagining it and this and that, and then trying to say, well, it's because you're a bad person, right? That's their justification. You're a bad person, but we don't know why. So, anyways, here's Sylvia. She's walking with me, and we're going back home, and that's it. And we'll pop this up on the net, and you can see, still after 20 years of this, and it will happen at any place I am in the world, and has. Oregon, Colorado, when I went to college in Colorado, when I went to college in Oregon, you name it. And so it doesn't matter where you live, they're worldwide kill operations with the government and worldwide support.